I says, Pigpen, this here's a rubber duck, and I'm about to put the hammer down.
Welcome to the THACO, the best damn AD&D 2nd edition podcast ever.
Type of baloney or something, I don't know. And some people think it's a copyright thing, but I don't know, really. Anyway, hi, folks. THACO's Hammer. What are we on, 51?
51.
51. Hi, it's DM Glenn again. We're back with some more 2E goodness. And we're here with DM Brian.
Good evening, folks. How's everything going out there?
And DM Full-On Gamer.
Greetings, Gamer Nation. Welcome to THACO's Hammer Formula 51.
Watch out for the black man wielding golf clubs.
Yeah, he's so like, I keep thinking it's like Brian Blessed, for the role-playing world.
Oh, no. Samuel L. Jackson in this case.
Or Shat.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Time for THACO's Hammer. Okay, let's get into it with hits and crits.
What are you doing tonight? I don't know. What are you doing tonight? The burlesque, Louie's Paradise, miserable and lonely and stupid. What am I, crazy or something? I got something good here. What am I hanging around with you guys for?
Hits and crits. Hits and crits. Okay, what'd you guys do this week, Brian?
Oh, let's see. I haven't been doing too much. Everything is pretty much ready to go with the AP game if we can just get everybody together on a particular day. I would suggest why don't we try next week and just get that rolling again. Another 2.5 hours of, gaming goodness.
Ordinarily, I'd say that commits you since we tested it on the podcast, but we know that's not true.
Oh, I'm the one suggesting it. I could take a day off next week. I ain't worried about that.
Oh, I know that, but I mean, getting everybody else together, that's going to be the fun part, especially with Corey being kind of not being there.
Yeah, the good thing is Corey hasn't been introduced into the game yet, so we can just drop him in, whenever he gets out of his Bataan working death march that he's doing.
If you think I'm going to edit him into the shows, you're crazy.
I'm not going to edit. No, we're going to drop him in just like any other new player who enters into the game. We just figure out a situation, drop him in, go.
If it's anything like my experience with new groups, you drop you in on your head.
Yeah,
so, prisoner in a cage or 0 hit point survivor on a battlefield?
I'd say, one or two. One or two staggering around.
Or wanders around the corner with a smile on his face and a hand outstretched.
There you go.
Full of arrows.
Oh, my.
Yeah, that ought to be interesting.
How about a hero in a full cage death match?
Plummets from the sky with a giant neon sign that says, "New PC, not NPC." There's a difference.
Yep. Exactly.
This smacks of how you introduce new characters in Paranoia.
Yeah, I would say so.
I literally have had one set of characters come running out of a misoriented portal.
Oh, Lord.
A portal opened 15 feet above the ground horizontally, and 2 characters at a dead sprint run straight through it. And faceplant in front of the party.
Oh, Lord. Okay, well, since you're talking, what about you, Full-On Gamer? What you been up to?
Gaming, I have done nothing. I've been using the other side of my skill repertoire and been blowing stuff up on Army ranges all week. So I feel good.
Oh, man, don't you ever get to do any gaming stuff anymore?
Have you come down from OKC yet? No. I actually have a weekend coming up. I'm probably going to come up and ambush you with Edition Wars.
Okay, as long as you also ambush my group with some D&D goodness. Or me, I don't care.
Didn't know what I can fit on the motorcycle.
I'll talk to my DM this. We're playing this Saturday, so I'll talk to him. And what have I been doing? Not a whole heck of a lot. Got a basic game coming up, and we're finally getting into the Mystara proper.
Uh-huh.
And I'm sure the first question I'm going to have is, did all our money make it?
Well, hey, you know what?
That portal?
Well, you know what? At least he's asking the right questions.
Yeah, that would be me. I'm mainly concerned with, like, we got at least one character who has a penchant for losing levels to undead, so we got to have enough to finance that.
Yeah. Yeah, that can get really expensive really fast.
And really tiring, let me tell you.
Oh, yeah.
But we're like 50 miles outside of Specularum or something like that.
Oh, please,
Oh, cool.
The simple solution is to kill things faster than you lose levels.
That's true.
Good luck with that.
Yeah. Actually, what he did was run us through Escape from Thunder Rift.
Uh-huh.
And apparently there's a pool in the dungeon where everybody falls in, and boom, we're in Mystara.
Mm-hmm.
So this should be interesting.
Oh, so you didn't actually have to run some sort of gauntlet to get out of Thunder Rift. You just fell into a pool.
No, I've never read that module, but apparently I don't know if it's that's the module or he just said screw it, here's a pool, have them fall in.
Yeah.
So
From what I remember about Escape from Thunder Rift, you had to kind of just run this kind of gauntlet or run past a red dragon or something like that to get out of there.
Yeah, well, he was so antsy for us to get out of Thunder Rift. I think he just kind of, kludged it out.
Yeah, he just said screw it, and here's a pool. You jump in, you fall through, here you are.
Yeah, pretty much. He
You
was so...
want for a very tragic tale of dead adventurers. You have ranger, thief, acrobat, paladin, and barbarian. With one unicorn.
Well,
It's spring, very cursed.
And with 7, you get egg roll.
yeah. He's already told us we're going to be running through Barrow Maze.
Uh-huh.
And then onward to glory, I guess. I don't know where. He said eventually we're going to come back to Thunder Rift, but, it's like he's having too much. He basically what he wants to do is he's been running store-bought stuff. He's been running modules and stuff. He wants to get to his own stuff, which is in Mystara.
Right.
Stuff that we can't look up and say, oh, wait a minute, that happens. Okay.
Yeah. There are some DMs who just are like, I don't want my players to know what happens. I don't want to have a clue what happens.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him at all. I'd probably be the same way as a DM.
Yeah, well, you can use published material without the players knowing exactly what goes down.
Right. And other than that, I just got players' option spells and magic today. So the triumvirate is complete.
Yeah, you'll like that one.
I still don't think much of those books, but when we did the review, there was one or two things that kind of intrigued me, and I want to look them up.
Mm-hmm.
Although I don't need the spells because I have I have half the spell compendiums anyway. So anyway, so that's going to be a good read. Not bad for $10.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
$10. It's worth it.
Yeah, and I went to the fair with Becky, and she's going back with the kids, and
Mm-hmm.
That's fun. We got the Oklahoma State Fair going on right now. Who's going to date the program? Ooh. Anyway.
We can't do that.
Oh, no. Not at all.
I can't do that.
Yeah, why don't we go into some emails? Do you have any emails,
Okay.
Brian?
Yeah, we have a couple of emails.
Okay.
All right. First one is from Michael Fiorentino.
Hello, Mike.
All right. He says, Dear THACO's Hammer, it's been some time since my last email, but I just have to say you're doing a fantastic, all in caps, job.
Could we forward that one to Vince?
Yeah. Let's do that. There are people out there who actually like us, contrary to what some people think.
Not that it's going to make a difference, but
yeah. Well, all right. I and my friends love your podcast, and we're very happy to see you reach the big 50. In a previous Splat book, I think 47 or 48, you were discussing the possibility of another installment of DM's Rag, which has always been my favorite portion of the show. Since it's that time of year again, almost October, our group usually runs a Halloween Fright tournament that lasts the whole month. And often we will either play I-6 Ravenloft, A Light in the Belfry, or a similar adventure. This year, it's an adventure from Dungeon Magazine entitled Bane of the Shadowborn. I was wondering if you could perhaps do a piece on this most excellent adventure, or even another Ravenloft classic, if at all possible. Anyways, keep up the fantastic work, and best wishes to all around for the whole cast. DM Shadowmere, a.k.a. Michael Fiorentino. P.S. Looking forward to Splat Book 100.
So are we. Thank you, Shadowmere. Yeah, I think we could work that in, can't we?
Yeah.
Easily. The first
we
thing
got-
is, it's a step to the left.
Oh God, stop that! No, not here.
The
Not
Rocky Horror Dungeon Show. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hey, there's the name for our episode right there. We got the whole month of October. We can do that.
I guess we could. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be,
I'll
we'll
work
dig
on
something Halloweeny up.
some horror-based stuff.
You know what I do for Halloween?
What's that?
Sit my butt down, ignore the door, and go through a marathon of old Universal and Hammer horror films. That's my Halloween right there. Honey, answer the door. Somebody's there. The candy's on a bowl next to the door. There.
You're all wet.
Oh, wow.
I know what Full On does at Halloween.
Scares the ever-living crap out of children under the age of 10, and maybe even over the age of 10 if he puts more effort into it.
I'd like to see him.
The half over the door say, I think perhaps you'd better both come inside.
You know what I'd like to see? I'd love if Full On was down here during Halloween, I'd love him to do the door duty, but I'd have him dress up as Rex from Rex Kwon Do and answer the door.
Wow.
Bow to your sensei.
Oh, I go the completely other way. I'd let him. Well, even though I knew he couldn't bring.
I
it
have
on.
a arsenal of various ad hoc things to costume as at the drop of a hat.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is
Here.
Yeah.
Well,
One is actually his his field gear with the camo, full camo with the M16 with the M203 grenade launcher attached to it.
They won't let me take that out of the arms room.
I know.
Oh,
It would be. I'm sure you'd like to, but yeah.
So what do you do for Halloween, Brian?
Oh, me? Just pretty much like any other day I work. And for Halloween, yeah, I live in an apartment building, so the trick-or-treaters don't even bother. I think what happens is they bring all the kids in the complex to the office, just after school on Halloween, and give them candy and stuff, so they won't go bothering the other residents.
Well, that's nice. Do you?
Yeah.
What do you? When you're not working, I mean, what have you done? What kind of dress-up costumes? Are you going to parties or what?
Oh God, I'm trying to remember the last time I dressed up for Halloween. Wait. The last time I remember dressing up for Halloween, I was actually 18 years old. I had my brother's Marine all-weather jacket on and an Enertech M16 water gun strapped to my back walking up the street. And a cop pulled over and he wanted to make sure that the M16 wasn't real. This was before they made the toy guns in wacky colors so that the real police wouldn't shoot children.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So
That's okay. I've been watching Sons of Guns. I can get real guns made in wacky colors, so it doesn't matter anymore. And besides, Brian, that's what lightsabers are for. They never ask you if those are real.
No.
I had when I was in my 20s, I had a rotation of 3 or 4 costumes I could always do at a drop of a hat.
Mm-hmm.
Ed Norton was really easy to do because I had the hat. I also did Mr. R.A. Gumby.
Gumby.
Mr. Gumby.
I even dare ask.
From Monty Python's Flying Circus. All I needed was a handkerchief and shave my mustache to a little Hitler mustache. I had the boots, I had the shorts, I had the sweater, and I'd run around at parties, where's my brain? My brain hurts. That guy.
Come in.
That guy, yeah.
Wow.
But I haven't dressed. I can't remember the last time I dressed up, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I remember in college I had a kick-ass costume of Brett Maverick.
Mm-hmm.
I rented that sucker. And
that's pretty cool.
Well, I had a friend in college who had a penchant, not only for Halloween, but he had a penchant for throwing costume parties with themes. And the first one he did was detectives. And basically he has running all around Long Beach in a scavenger hunt.
Uh-huh.
And we lost. My team lost. And I found out the booby prize was all the food was eaten.
That's nice.
Which is okay because there was booze. So, yeah, I had friends who were dressing up as famous detectives. I did Inspector Clouseau, and it was a lot of fun. Anyway, I digress, as we usually do. We got another email?
Yeah, we have another one.
Okay.
And as this one goes in the archive. Okay, this one is from Dave.
Hey, Dave.
What's up, Dave?
Dave's not here, man.
Dave, very nice one.
Hey, man. How you doing, Dave, man?
Yeah. Okay, he says, hey, guys, first of all, thanks for the podcast. You're welcome.
You are welcome.
He said, I think I need to give a bit of framing as to where I might be coming from with this question. I'm relatively new to the tabletop RPG scene. I played 4th edition for about 2 to 3 years, oh, you poor baby, and now mostly as a player, but I've attempted to DM 2 sessions, never going well as I would have wanted. Now, my friends and I, not the people I usually play with, wanted to give some old school AD&D a spin, and for some reason we landed on 2nd edition, mostly because, you could do a whole lot worse. Mostly because it's what we would have played when we were teenagers in the 90s. Yeah, you wouldn't have had much choice. As I am the only one in the group that has had any experience with tabletop RPGs in the past, I've been nominated DM. Yeah, I know what that's like. And in his own words, and I quote, "This is stressing me the F out."
Gotta get that F out,
Yeah, gotta get it out. I have 2 weeks now to wrap my head around enough of the rules to have a good first session and to put something together for us to run. Honestly, I'm feeling super overwhelmed, and I really just want everyone to have a good time. There's the first thing. Before anything else, that's the first thing a DM has.
Exactly. And you know what? Everybody has to have the good time, including you.
Yes. Agreed. 100%.
If you can't get behind this and you can't do this, you tell them.
Yeah.
And have somebody else do it or just drop it.
Yeah. I really want to be a great dungeon master and have them wanting to come back for more when the session is over, but I feel like I've bitten off too much to chew here. I have decided that getting together, rolling up some characters, and kicking off Sword of the Dales would be a good place to start. Again, you could do worse. Are there any tips you could give me for starting out, and what should I be tackling first as far as the rules and ideas go? I'm going to read over the module a few times to really get the feel of it, so that's a given. But I find myself getting wrapped up in the rule books to the point where I feel like I'm investing time and understanding and wrapping my head around rules that are probably not going to come up. You will be surprised by that, Dave.
Okay.
I would say step 1, continue your process of reading the module, scribble notes in the margins, make your adjustments or things that you think are a concern, any little things that stand out to you that you want to have an extra note to or an answer to a question that's not answered in the text, scribble down your 3x5 card, stick it in the binder or in the pages so it's there waiting for you when you need it. Do a little bit of prep. As far as rules for your let's get started session, one thing you should consider right off the bat, very important, is any particular house rules from the many talkings and all things circled that you might want to consider, whether it has to do with level limits, or class and race combination restrictions, and very importantly, what power level of play do you want to get into, and that gets directly into how do you generate your stats. Are you going to go hardcore 3d6 in a straight line, what you get is what you get? Are you going to do the classic 4d6 reroll 1s, choose the top 3, or even 5d6 reroll 1s and 2s, choose the top 3, whatever the thing is, okay? Something is going to skew the odds of your power level if you are going beyond straight vanilla dice rolling. And that's going to set the tone for the rest of your game.
I'm of the mind of playing a game of Yahtzee first for your stats.
What, 5d6? Keep the highest?
No, 5d6, you go through the Yahtzee thing. Okay, I got a full house, I got a straight here, it'll work out some way. Anyway, here is my advice, and it's very simple. Remember this word, optional. Optional.
That's what he brings up in the rest of his
email. Okay, finish the rest of his email, and I'll finish what I was saying. Okay.
My word for you is Farfignugan.
There's something from the 90s. To continue. we're planning on running Bare Bones 2nd Edition, Player's Handbook, Monstrous Manual, DMG only, and not using any optional rules. Also, we are planning on running without minis or battle mats. That's probably the best way to start.
Yes.
Bring things in gradually as you either feel the need to or your players want you to.
Brian, finish the email.
Okay. Oh, thanks in advance for any help, and thanks again for the podcast. I haven't listened to the vast majority of them yet, so if this is something you've covered in detail, please just let me know what episode I should listen to, and I'll give it a go. Thanks, Dave.
But you're absolutely right, Robin. Brian. Yes, Robin.
Holy alliteration, Batman.
But you are absolutely right. And like I said, optional, cut it down. If you played 1E, cut it down to 1E. Cut it down to basic if you have to.
Mm-hmm.
Everything in that book except for the core mechanic is optional.
That's correct.
Stats, saving throws,
Crits,
weapon damage, that's all you need right there. And I applaud you for cutting it down to the basic books. That's the way every group should start.
Mm-hmm. Well, yes, especially. Go ahead.
And add the, like I said, what I said before, add the spot books to taste.
Yeah, their seasoning to the soup that you're creating.
Or the player's options, either one.
Right.
Who knows? Hell, add 1E. Just throw every damn thing in there you can think of as fantasy. I don't care. But that's your core. That's your core right there. Stick with that until you guys feel comfortable. Then you can start like edging out and get a little elbow room and start adding a few more things that make sense.
Right. And as far as learning the rules goes, I mean, you need to learn the mechanics more than anything else, and just wing the rest. And as things progress in your game, the first thing, you already have the first rule of DMing. Make sure that that everybody is having fun, including yourself. Don't try to take on too much. Take in small doses. Get the combat down, and everything else you could just work in as you become more familiar to the rules.
And let me tell you.
What?
If you cut it down to the basics, it is so much easier.
Mm-hmm.
Than trying to add all these optional rules. I mean, I'm not saying if you see an optional rule, you think, oh, that's a good idea, but I don't want to do it. Go ahead and add it. But I'm saying, get the basics down first.
Yeah, absolutely. And
in with the basics is just the base is a very fundamental core GM trait to develop, and that is the ability on the fly, even if without having to crack a book, start developing the notion that, yes, you have this power, you can use it at your whim. Mm-hmm. Whenever you have a question about how or why somebody wants to do something, make the judgment call if you want to make it a stat check or a proficiency check, put a number to it, have them check it, roll and go. Grab a D20, roll and go.
And train them early that you make the calls.
Yep.
You make the calls. That's not say that you won't change them or I want to say suffer debate, but entertain debate.
Sometimes you have to.
Yeah, entertain debate after the game. During the game, you make the call. Don't think of yourself as God. A lot of guys say, "Oh, I'm God in my world." When I go, no, you're not. You're a referee.
Yeah, and that guys with that mode are violating the DBAD rule. DBAD, don't be a dick.
Yeah, they call it a referee in some games. In war games, they call it a referee. I mean, you're the referee the same way like a baseball game has a referee. Yeah, you're going to get people who don't like your calls. Yeah, you're going to get the manager of the other team in your face and stuff like that. But damn it, you're a referee. Let that call stand until after the game.
Right, and if it needs to be changed, you change it after. Don't knuckle under to a player whining or arguing and change it on the fly. Only if you realize you screwed up, and then you can just go back and say, okay, I messed that up. All right, this is how it will be from this point forward.
Another good thing to keep in mind is you don't have to bind yourself lock and key to the books and the rules and the page numbers and the references. Yeah. Rule of cool. Yeah. Bow to the rule of cool. If it sounds awesome and it looks like it could work, shoot them a number, tell them to roll it, see if it goes.
Yep.
Or say, that works. Make the judgment call. Don't even have them check. If you want to check, have them check. If you want to just make the call, make the call. That's your power. Use it wisely.
That's right.
Yep.
Wiser words I could not think of.
Yep.
Is that all our emails?
Yes, we only had 2.
Okay. Well, if you want to drop us a line at THACOsHammer@gmail.com. And that's an O, not a 0.
Yes, it is.
And we have a phone number.
That is 405-806-0555.
Okay. And let us move on to It's in the Book.
I thought it was a 0.
Shut up.
You ever go to school, stupid?
Yeah, and I come out the same way.
Is that your idea of an idea?
It's in the book. It's in the book. Demi-human racial level limits. Oh, we got to throw those out, right?
Exactly. First thing.
Not to hear some people argue about it. Now,
tell us why not.
This is. I'm going to put a caveat in this because, first the disclaimer, then the caveat. On THACO's Hammer, we do not edition bash.
Here we go again.
Yeah, I know. I have to put it out there because some people will take it as edition bashing. Now, the caveat is, when I was playing first edition in the middle 80s, I did
the Middle Ages. What?
Middle 80s.
Thank you.
1984 to 1987, smartass. Anyway, when I was playing in the 80s,
we threw levels out then too.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know, and I had to learn that lesson. But the whole thing is that I didn't particularly like the fact that, and I've said it before, that I don't particularly like level limits for demi-humans. So a dwarf can detect stonework. So an elf can see in the dark and is a little bit better with a longsword than a human of similar level. Who cares? It's not enough to, it's not so that, you can limit someone to 7th level as a fighter or 11th level as a mage just because they've got pointy ears, they've got a couple of cool little abilities. Now, that's the caveat. With 2nd edition, they realized that when players who took demi-humans kind of get screwed in that manner. So what they ended up doing was they more or less doubled the level limits in concerning particular character classes. With elves and things like that, elves could only advance to 7th level as a fighter in 1st edition. In 2nd edition, they upped that level to 15. And then on top of that, then they added the nice little prime requisite bonus, so you can actually go into higher levels because you've got high ability scores. And they say when a demi-human reaches their level limit, which is so high now that it doesn't even really matter,
right?
That they'll that if you reach your limit, then you could go either double or triple your experience points to advance beyond that level. They say, the quote is on DMG, they'll advance very slowly, but the players will still have a goal and a sense of accomplishment that comes with rising a level. I would argue to say no, they don't, because the advancement for a fighter to go from 13 or 15th level to 16th level is 250,000 experience. Now you're doubling that or tripling that, and it's at that point, it's like the players, the character's advancement slows down to such a point where it may take them 10 sessions, 15 sessions to advance a level, and that's with heavy combat and stuff like that.
It's interesting. It's interesting in basic. They got their level limits, which I think is a little wonky, but at the same time, say if you're playing an elf, it's front loaded in the fact that you have to get twice as many experience points to get from one level to the other in the beginning.
That's correct. And that's something that kind of frustrated me about basic, because it's okay, by the time I reach 2nd level as an elf, which is 4,000 experience points, the human fighter next to me is already at 3rd, Yeah,
so, then you're bucking for 8,000 for the next level, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, it's really hard, especially with basic, because, it was kind of tough, but that's another story for another time.
Right.
my whole thing is that as a DM, I just chuck the level limits out the window. I just don't care anymore. It's not going to break my game, even though it's not, quote unquote, by the book.
Now, do they have anything in here? I haven't looked in here in quite a while, but do they have anything in here about discarding the level limits on demi-humans?
Well, sure. Yeah, they can basically, what they basically say is that before you decide to remove level limits, familiarize yourself with the game and the balances that currently exist. Only after you're experienced and are comfortable with these should you begin alteration of non-human level limits, which is perfectly fine.
Right. Okay. Once again, I'm gonna use an example for like basic. In the back, they said, yeah, you can get rid of the level limits, but you got to get rid of some of the special stuff that the races do. And I never agreed with that.
No, because the bonuses are minor. I mean, what's an extra +1 to hit when you're a 13th level fighter anyway?
Yeah.
And and your attack bonuses and your THACO or whatever you want to use is so low at that point that another +1 isn't going to matter.
They're saying stuff like taking away infravision and stuff. And what the point is that?
Yeah, exactly. And that's ridiculous. There's no reason to do that. It's not to do that arbitrarily. That's just lazy to me. That's something I've never agreed with.
Mm-hmm. Especially with the advent of the player's option books. I mean, you can make a human who has powers just like all the other demi-humans. It doesn't matter. It does not affect the power level of your game significantly, which is why when they went to 3, it was one of the first things gone.
Yeah, it's a moot point by that time. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is, once again, I'm going to stress option.
Yep, that's the best thing about second edition. You use what you don't, use what you like, just leave out what you don't.
You got to really, I'm sorry you have to hammer that point home in second, but you really have to.
Yeah.
When I went through second the first time when it came out, and it's like, God, I wish somebody would have told me the first time about this, because I felt hidebound to include whatever the players wanted to play with in the splat books or whatever optional rules there were in the rule books and stuff like that. And it isn't, well, with age comes wisdom. But
let's put something else out there. I mean, there are people who have, some people consider it to be a choice of either or. Either you go by the book or you throw them out the window. There's other camps that have house ruled it slightly differently. They've altered the class racial limits.
Which is a traditional thing you do with D&D.
And that's like, say, each particular race has a class that they're unlimited in, but they have level limits for the others.
Yes.
That works for everything. And humans have the benefit of unlimited in everything. Now, everyone's on an even playing field.
It's always, I don't care what edition it is, it's always going to be a modular game to me.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I totally agree. And the thing is that that's what they did. In second edition, they kind of did that, but they didn't go far enough. I'm looking at Table 7 in the DMG right now, and I agree with you that every race should have unlimited advancement in one class. Dwarves should be fighters. Elves should be mages. Huh?
That's a classic stereotypical view of your D&D world. What if your D&D world has the dwarves are the great priests of the world?
Then you switch that.
Then whatever you switch around. But you pick one, you balance it out, you spread it out, you make it an even playing field for whatever your game world is and your game group wants.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We're getting into the point of like preaching to the choir here.
Yeah, it's a Greek chorus at this point.
Pretty much. Full on.
It would seem so, Socrates.
Yes, full on. Have you ever altered the level limits on your games for demi-humans?
Either I throw them out entirely, or like I said, I've gone with the shift things around, pick the racial focus for our game world, and that one gets unlimited and the rest stay in place. But with so many people multi-classing, it doesn't really matter anyway.
Right.
Exactly.
I've had the same problem. And frankly, my groups have never lasted long enough to get up to the point where we have to deal with that.
That's true. That's the other thing.
See, to me, a majority of the groups, I don't think are going to get to that point. The majority of the groups. I'm not saying it's not, I'm not saying 100%, but.
Yeah, you go into Night Below obeying the racial class and level limits, and perhaps your half-elf is the druid in the party, you're boned.
Yeah, big time.
So,
Big time.
Or your gnome is the cleric, yeah, you're boned.
Yeah.
Unless you want to throw them out the window, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my whole
And
thing
at that
is,
point, I would.
Yeah, for a game like that, yeah, most definitely. But with me,
I might even allow humans to multi-class. Why not?
Now we're getting into player's option territory.
I think, to me, dual class is enough. Yeah.
I've always been annoyed at the dual classing rules because they never really made sense.
Well,
Multi-class, easy, it works.
But
then again, so did the whole thing that they went with 3E, again, where they just said, okay, start a new class, keep going. Another level, another class, keep going.
Yep. Yeah, I just think multi-classing is kind of a pain.
It's not a pain.
Well, on a player's side, it's a pain to keep track of it.
Yeah, maybe. I've never had an issue with it.
I will say this, power level-wise, no matter what edition game you're playing, power level-wise, power balance-wise, if everybody wants to preach the balance numbers, you show up at my table with a multi-class character, you're a flanker. You're backup.
Okay.
Because
you're the guy in the back.
Never, especially in a 2E game, you will never, power for power, point for point, be able to match a single class of comparable level.
No, I agree, 100%.
Okay. So
power, whether it's fighting power, whether it's thieving power, abilities, whatever, your straight class 15th level fighter will always outshine your 7-8 cleric mage.
So he's the guy in the back.
Yeah. He's your backup reinforcement and your alt.
Yeah. He's a utility player.
Yeah. If you guys are down to nothing in the front, he's the guy who yells, "Duck!"
Yeah, something like that.
Duck, and he fires off the fireball or something.
Well, my whole thing is that with certain character multi-classes, I've never had an issue about having a fighter mage who likes to fight in the front rank or, something like that. Well, you never know. But my whole thing is that but that comes down to play style more than anything else.
Right.
In my game, if you've got a fighter mage, good for you. Hopefully you've got high scores in both your intelligence and your strength, and probably, and most importantly, your con. But, as far as that goes, if you want to fight in the front rank, go for it. Just don't look at me with a gimlet eye if you're up in the front and you're trying to cast a spell and the orc that you were fighting toe to toe with all of a sudden says, "Oh, he's moving his hands weird," and he goes upside your head with his battle axe. Don't look at me.
But
it's the risk you take.
I look at the gimlet eye with you anyway because I'm usually drinking gimlets.
Oh, is that what you're drinking tonight?
No. This is a rum and coke night.
Nothing wrong with that.
Anyway, okay, tell us. Hey, I'm sure you guys got opinions on this. So give us a shout out over at THACOsHammer@gmail.com, and especially osrgaming.org, dragonsfoot.org, Strollin Citadel. No, I've got to get d20radio.org in there. Otherwise, Full On is not. Because Full On will not be happy if I don't.
Well, we don't want him to be unhappy.
Planet AD&D, Circus Maximus, purpleworm.org, all those places. We want to hear from you, and our phone number.
405-806-0555.
Bitchin'. Okay, let's go on to Rule 0.
Or Grimlock Beef Mage going to backstab with Fireball. No level limit.
One would think you've been doing this all your life.
We'll remember you said that.
I know. I'm sure you hate me just enough.
Rule 0. Rule 0. Adapting rules from later editions to 2E. Now, I thought I didn't have anything for this because it's been so long since I played 3.3.5. But I found out I actually have a few things I'd love to adapt to 2E, but I'm going to let you guys go first. Brian, full on, go for it.
Okay. There are only like two things that I've really adapted from 3E, and the first one is the resting rules.
Okay.
Now, the resting rules in second edition, which is, that's a holdover from 1E and probably a holdover from basic. For every day of moderate activity, you regain 1 hit point, and for complete bed rest, it's 2 hit points. Okay. Third edition actually said, you know what? If that's the case, if you're a 6th level fighter and you got your butt kicked and you don't have healing and you need to do it through rest, it will take you more or less a couple of weeks to regain your hit points, if not longer. Mm-hmm. With 3E, they said, okay, we're going to change that. Instead of it just being 1 hit point, they made it 1 hit point per character level. So it only takes days, a couple of days, 3 or 4 days, you're back on your feet.
You got a 7th level character, you're golden.
Yeah, exactly. Because you'll regain 7 hit points per day.
Right.
Now, I've modified that to where if you're under the care of somebody who has the healing proficiency, that rate is doubled. And if he has healing and herbalism, that rate is tripled. So yes, that healer witch in the woods who can go and gather make poultices and things like that, and just put you and you just rest in bed, and she's binding your wounds, and she's putting all these weird substances on them that make you feel better almost instantly. Yeah, right. You could be up and around in like 3 days.
Okay, Mako in his tower, he's very powerful wizard. He lives in the wind.
Okay, and let me add as a side note to this.
Yeah.
Do not scoff at the healing skill.
No.
You don't have a cleric handy or healing potions handy.
Find wounds, healing skill. Yo!
Exactly. You get those 1 or 2 hit points back. You're going to think this guy is the Grandmaster of Flowers.
Exactly.
Exactly. So don't scoff at it. I've had characters. I had a necromancer. My infamous good necromancer had the healing skill, and he bought that sucker up so he could actually heal some serious hit points.
Mm-hmm.
So
more or less, he was pretty much a doctor at that point.
Exactly. He had his equivalent to his doctorate.
Mm-hmm.
So don't scoff at that. Anyway.
Poke. Rub a little dirt on it. Get back up. Get in the fight.
There you go. What about you, Full On? Have you adapted later edition stuff too?
Oh, yes. A few things. One of the biggest things that I've had fun with, and it actually worked out well, was the Vitality Wound Point system. It's optional for 3E. It was a factor in the Star Wars role-playing game.
Yep.
D20 system, OCR and RCR, and I brought it into my D&D game, and I brought it into my 2E game, and it worked very well. And what it solved so perfectly was this mythological, it's because sometimes I run kind of a hardcore gritty game. Okay. I admit that up front.
I'll remember that when we play.
What it solves is this myth of I've got 156 hit points. I've got 1 hit point left. I don't care. I'm perfectly fine. Bada, 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 bada. When you have vitality and wound points, you take your constitution score is your wound points. Wound points are what it takes to kill you.
Okay. Yeah.
Your vitality points are your hit dice rolled with your constitution bonus like you normally would for any class and any level. And that represents all that things that in that paragraph no one reads about hit points are what they represent. That's your luck. That's your skill. That's the will of the gods. That's the endurance. That's the training. That's
your luck.
That merge up with your ability to turn a solid hit to a glancing blow or take that parry or all those things that are not a piece of metal going into a vital part of you.
Yeah, right. And that's the thing. People think that it's a health thing. No, it's not. It's always been abstract. It's like it's always been. Even if somebody hits you with a sword or comes at you with a sword as coming right at your head, and you just move your head slightly, and the blade bites into the stone wall behind you. That takes away from your hit points. That's the system.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, blatantly clear. You took it off of your vitality points. If it's anything and everything other than a critical hit, up until your vitality points are gone, and then it goes into your wound points until they're gone, and then you are down.
Exactly.
And they recover. Vitality comes back 1 per level per hour.
You're using the
come back 1 per level per day.
You're using the Conan method.
Basically. And it works. It works well. The people get up and back into the fight. They don't decide to turn into 10 by 10 room, the dungeon. They actually come out and play.
Because they will regain it. Go ahead, Glenn.
What they do pay special attention to and concern with is the crits, because crits go immediately to wounds.
Let me ask you something, full on.
Yes?
Do you still use the traumatic wounds rule? They take X amount of points in one blow, save or die.
I have in the past, yes. I usually adjust the power level of the party. Usually the ballpark is like 50 points.
Okay.
Yeah, 50 point. Yeah, the 50
usually when the
goal.
giant starts drop kicking you, or the dragon is deciding to, play Louis Armstrong with his tail in your head.
Yeah, something like that. But to reinforce your point, Fawn, the first time I played in this system was about, what year was it? It was about 1991, I think. And because the DM, who was the person who got me into D&D in the first place, but he came up with this system, and it made things a whole lot easier. I mean, he ran deadly games. He always did. But at least he said, you know what? At least this way you have a really good measuring stick of, when it's time for you to retreat. Because once your vitality points are gone and your wound points start getting ticked off, that's when you start getting named, and things like that.
Right.
That's when you get started up. The last man, the last hit point thing in most cases, except for when I'm a player, because I'm that guy. As long as everyone else is dead and one person in the party has 1 hit point left, it's a win for the party. We can talk about healing and resurrections later. I just happen to approach games that way with several of my characters. I'm sorry. But another thing, this was another thing that I brought in from another edition of the game that was awesome. I borrowed from Hackmaster. I brought in the 20-point kicker.
Yeah. Explain that to me, please. I've heard.
Very simple. You have your hit dice, just like normal. Everybody has their hit points and their hit dice and all things normal.
Right.
All player characters, major NPCs, and most monsters of the not mook status also have what's called the 20-point kicker.
Okay.
So whatever your hit dice are, add 20 hit points to it.
Yes.
So if you're a mage who has 1d4 hit points, you now have 1d4 plus 20.
Plus 20, yeah.
As a first level character.
Now,
suddenly the dungeon is a place to be brave in.
Okay.
Now, what happened here, this was the fun bit, I didn't tell the party I did that.
Ooh.
So they went into B1.
Search the unknown.
They're adventuring along, search the unknown. They got into the fight with this. They got into the fight with that. They had their hit points on. The first stand-up, knockdown, drag-out fight they had was orcs.
Okay.
They were brave. They were bold. There were 7 party members, and they thought they had no worries in the world until the orcs didn't die. And they're starting to get this wide-eyed look in their face about why the hell is this orc not dropping? I've done like 15 points of damage to him. And then the party members started getting wide-eyed and panicked, and I'm keeping track of their hit points independently. So I know about their 20-point kicker, and I know where they really are.
Right.
And party member says, "Oh, God, I'm down." I said, "No, you're not. You're still up." "What?" "Keep fighting." "Got it." And they have no clue about how far they can go.
Yeah, it's like, don't argue with the DM. Just keep fighting.
Somebody finally dropped 20 points down, and then they dropped unconscious, and people were just utterly amazed. And the ferocity of the combat turned on its head. And, we had mages beating things to death with a chair. We had fighters picking up, dual wielding anything they could get their hands on to try to just pour out more damage. It was awesome.
Hey, Brian?
Yeah.
It looked exactly like the covers of the Hackmaster modules.
Yeah, Brian, if you ever find that professional wrestling RPG you were talking about, I suggest adding this rule to it.
I have no problem with that.
That's just the mark of the heroic to mark them above the rest of the population so that they can do the heroic and live through it instead of, I took a dagger, I'm down.
Unfortunately,
a half damage hit from a crossbow, I'm out of the game.
Unfortunately, the monsters get that too.
Most of them, except for the really, really mook ones, like, the goblins that aren't chiefs or, things like that. Usually the major humanoids get it. You don't necessarily give it to your slimes, molds, jellies, and, rust monsters and stuff like that, unless you want to. But
yeah, unless you want
pretty much anything that can have a name and more than a single hit dice gets it.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, my turn. Now, I'm going to backtrack on what I said because I just noticed in the notes here that you said adapting rules from later editions.
Yes.
I was thinking of supplements, campaign worlds, things like that.
Rule books.
Okay, well, we're going to have to go back to basic for this because if you count retro clones as later editions, we've said this on another show, I believe. I said the treasure hoard rules from Swords and Wizardry.
Okay.
Now let's explain this just once and for all, because somebody on OSR Gaming said they wanted to see a throwdown on this or, that kind of thing, kit bashing. Let me explain how it works. You begin by multiplying the total XP value of the monsters by 1d3 plus 1. This is the total gold piece value of the horde for purposes of determining what is in it. Now, we're talking about the whole level. We're talking about dungeons right here, but you can apply it to wilderness areas, whatever. The area, okay?
Okay.
Then check the table below in which there is a chance to trade out some of the gold for more interesting and possibly more valuable types of treasure, such as gems and magic items. Do not start subtracting gold until you've checked all three types of trades. After doing the trade-outs, then you know the remaining gold piece value of the coins. Divide the value in whatever denominations, platinum, gold, silver, copper, or other, you wish. Now, you have the table. For each 100 gold piece, there's a 10% chance to substitute a roll for a 100 gold piece trade-out for a 100 gold piece of treasure. See below for the possible trades. They have other tables. They have also this 4,000 gold piece and the 5,000 gold piece level.
Right.
Now, to me, this is interesting. This is doable. Because basically, okay, say you're doing a dungeon adventure, okay? First level of the dungeon, you figure out where all the traps and all the monsters are. Okay, fine. You look up their XP value. Mm-hmm. You do the math. Then you start working the tables. Okay?
Yeah.
And there is, like I said, a 10% chance on each level, so you're not going to get it all the time. Yeah. But when you do get it, it's very interesting. Major gem or jewelry trade-outs, minor magic items, medium magic items, major magic items, minor gems, medium, major, and it just makes it so much easier that way to deal with it as in like one area at a time rather than trying to figure out, okay, this monster should have such and such gold, such and such magic items, like that.
Right.
Because you can spread it however you want.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
I get it. I get it.
I should keep the Vorpal Sword of Wounding in the poorly locked chest with the kobolds?
That's up to you. You're the DM. You figure out how it's being guarded. But that's the treasure. But you can okay, the dragon's over here. I'll put this much treasure here. The kobolds or the orcs are over here. I'll put that much treasure over here. And the Minotaur's got this much, and he's got this, that, and the other thing. And then you just go through it and say, okay, you do the logic thing. Okay, he's going to either use it or have it guarded or put it in a chest or whatever.
Plate mail of displacement on the troll. Got it.
There you go. But anyway, I think that's a brilliant idea for distributing treasure.
Yeah, it definitely sort of suits the treasure a little. It sort of not so much knocks it down, but it sort of evens it out a little bit so that you're not finding ridiculous stuff with lower level monsters and that kind of thing.
And you don't get the situation of we killed 10 orcs and a minotaur and that's it.
Yeah, which does tend to happen. Another rule that I used from 3rd edition was the critical hit determination mechanic. Now, I've talked about the critical hit charts I use, which is a nice little blend of good hits and bad misses in the critical hit tables in combat tactics.
Yes. Now, wait, is that the same thing that was in Dragon?
Yes,
yeah,
good hits and bad misses is the classic one from
Really?
Dragon Magazine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I used to use those a lot.
Are you saying? Oh, they put that in the combat and tactics?
No. They did have a little forward talking about, but they modified it.
Oh, okay.
And the problem is that the mechanic just makes me think too much. I'd rather just be like, okay, roll the natural 20. Okay, roll this. Okay, if you did this, then roll on the critical charts. Basically what it is, if you roll a natural 20, and that's the only way you get the possibility, it's kind of like a game on The Price is Right. I can't remember which one. I think it's like Pressure Luck or whatever. But basically you roll a natural 20. Okay. First thing is you have a chance to make this a critical hit. But in making it a critical hit, you already earn maximum damage if you don't get one. Now, the second roll, not so much unmodified, but
with all modifiers, all you need to do is hit.
Yeah, all you need to do is hit the opponent's armor class a second time with an unmodified roll.
Right.
And then
modifications.
Yeah, there are very few modifications.
The rule as it would be imported.
Right. And then from there, then you roll your location, and then you roll percentile dice to see how well you did. But at least this way, now the funny part is that before I incorporated the max damage rule, was that, oh man, I rolled a natural 20 and I didn't get a critical, and that's all I get. I'm like, okay, fine, maximum weapon damage, okay?
That's fair. That's a good.
It's a good compromise.
Especially if you're going to have a confirmation system like that. That's the downside of the confirmation system. I've seen too many players get heartbroken over failing to confirm the crit. Because crits either come too often or they don't come often enough.
And to me, the backing up of crits just kind of rubs me the wrong way. Mm-hmm. But if you're doing a backup to get extra damage, I can understand that.
Yeah, and the thing is that with the critical hit charts I use, they are fairly nasty. And, I mean, we're talking, depending on the type of weapon you have and the type of monster you're fighting, when you hit him with it, you could have broken bones, severed limbs,
so we're
things
talking,
like that.
We're talking Warhammer Fantasy roleplay type.
Not that bad. Not that bad.
Lord of the Rings role-playing or Rollmaster tables? Oh, yeah. Both eardrums pierced.
No, I never went
not bad.
I had somebody send me those charts, and I was looking at them, and I'm just like, oh my God, are you kidding me?
That's why they're 4 digits long on those tables.
Yes, exactly. And I'm like, no, I can't adapt this.
Now,
I don't want to play.
It's adapt, and it's very easy to adapt to any system.
There's no way in hell I can play that game.
Critical hit and fumble decks.
Yes.
Do they have? I was wondering. Those of you who know MERP.
Yep, Middle Earth Role Playing. Yep.
Yeah, which is
it's Iron Crown Enterprises, same system as Rollmaster.
I was going to say it's an adaptation of Rollmaster, right? So do they have critical hits like that?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
that chart is. Glenn, I have the chart. I'll send them to you. You will be cringing by the time you get through it.
So I could take Frodo's liver out and show it to him.
Pretty much.
Oh God.
You can go full.
Opponent, you attempt to trip the ground instead. Spend 3 rounds contemplating your failure.
You could go completely full on Braveheart with those charts. They're that bad.
I'd love to see the spell law though. That looks interesting.
Oh yeah.
Oh boy.
Anyway, go on.
Firearm goes with it.
Oh God, stop it. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, just adapting rules from different, from future editions, kind of, I will adapt a rule if it makes sense to me. And there are certain spells, like, there's a spell called Healing Sphere, which is, basically a ranged cure spell. Uh-huh. And, I took that, like, immediately. I'm like, yes, that's in my game. There are only certain priests who know it, like, priests of healing who are pacifists, but, yes, they could do that. Excuse me. Then, of course, I just extrapolated from there, and then I made the healing version of the fireball spell.
Healing ball.
Yes. Healing explosion. Like everybody in a 20-foot radius gets healed 1d6.
Now you're getting into full-on territory.
Hey, I can go into that territory when I want to. It's just the urge doesn't strike me very often. That's all. But anyway,
sits in the corner and whistles innocently.
That's when I start getting scared.
Folks, you can tell us about it at THACOSammer@gmail.com and the usual places. Let's go on to Magic Fingers.
Sir.
Eeny, meeny, chili beanie, the spirits are about to speak.
Well, it just so happens that your friend here is only mostly dead.
Sounds like a lot of supernatural baloney to me.
Supernatural, perhaps. Baloney, perhaps not.
Magic Fingers.
Okay, Magic Fingers. We're going to talk about the Sanctuary spell, which is a first-level pre-spell with a sphere of protection. Range is touch. Components, VSM, of course. Duration, 2 rounds plus 1 round per level. Casting time, 4. Area of effect, a creature touched. Saving throw, none. The components of the spell include a priest's holy symbol and a small silver mirror. Where do we find that in the pre-spell compendium, Full-On?
In the Pre-Spell Compendium. It is found in Volume 2 of your Pre-Spell Compendium on page 522 with a special note. It is also listed as an abjuration and a charm spell for spheres.
Okay, and in first printing of the Player's Handbook, you'll find it on page 202. Mm-hmm. Okay, this sucker is handy.
Yes, very much so.
Especially when you get up to higher levels.
I would say it's actually more useful at lower levels.
Really?
Oh yeah. I mean, one of the tactics that one of the players that I used to play with back in the day was if we were going up against the big bad evil guy and he had like 30 or 40 orcs in front of him.
Uh-huh.
What we would do is that character who was a cleric, of course, he would take like 2 rounds and just be off casting a couple spells. The first one was Sanctuary. I think the second one was either Bless or Prayer. Probably both.
Bless, yeah.
Yeah. To lower his armor class or at least lower his chance of being hit. And then with the Sanctuary spell and things like that, he would just start running through that combat, running through the ranks of the orcs to get to the big bad. And sometimes he made it. Actually, I'd probably say most times he made it. 2 chances in 3. But when that third chance came up, he had issues, let's say. Problems.
Okay, prayer is a what level spell?
Third.
Third level. Okay, so you need a few levels before you can try that one.
Correct. But usually Bless, Sanctuary, Run.
Well, see, I looked up Bless, and it's like a 50-foot cube. You hope the rest of your party is in that 50-foot cube when you're running through there.
Right, or when you cast it anyway.
Yeah.
When you first cast it, then from that point on, then.
Oh, it doesn't move with the cleric?
No, it does not. What it does is that it will everyone in that radius, and we're talking about it, but everyone in that, all friendly people in the radius of the spell when it's cast get the benefit of the bless. Then then it's like, go and do what you're going to do. It's not like you have to stay there.
Okay, here's a middling little point. Does the silver mirror get destroyed when the spell is cast?
Since it said, well, that's the DM's call, but since it says that it doesn't, I would say no.
Oh, it doesn't say anything actually about it.
Mm-hmm.
Most times when a spell component is consumed, especially in the references they use in the spell compendiums, it will tell you if it's consumed or not. And it does not specify, therefore it remains constant.
Right.
You got to buy one. Don't lose it. Don't break it.
And remember, folks, even if this spell is happening on your character, it ain't going to help him for like a fireball or an ice storm or something like that. You're still going to get tagged by area effect stuff.
You also cannot take direct offensive action without breaking the spell.
Right. So that's why you wade through the orcs and get to him before you do anything.
And they include offensive action, such things as casting a light spell on an opponent.
Exactly.
Yep.
Hope he doesn't have magical darkness going on.
Yeah. Or something else. Or he's a cleric himself or a mage and casts dispel magic. Then you got
Now, what's an incredibly useful thing with this spell happens to be this little notation that if the saving throw is failed, the opponent loses track of and totally ignores the warded creature for the duration of the spell. You know what that tells me? My priest thieves now become master backstabbers.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
And also I notice that healing wounds is not an offensive action.
No, it's not.
So he can rush
spells on undead creatures would be.
Yes.
Yes.
But I'm saying if your main warrior is up there duking it out with the main guy and he falls, you can go up there and heal him and still have this spell in effect. If you have to pick up his sword or your sword and do in the big bad and then turn around and heal him, you can do that.
Yep.
Or vice versa. Mm-hmm. Hit him with a few hit points and then take his sword and go. Ugh!
Yes. Keep him from dying, then finish the fight.
Mm-hmm. Right, you can finish the fight for him, which is really handy.
But that breaks the spell.
Well, well, it's like invisibility, Yeah, it'll break the spell.
This basically what this is. This is the invisibility spell for clerics.
Yeah.
Now imagine having an invisibility spell and this spell on you.
Holy moly! Yeah, get the mage to throw that on you, and then you do this. Holy moly!
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, this is what you do. See, these are the kind of spell tactics you should use when you're planning out big fights. You throw that on your thief, and then you throw the invisibility on your thief, and tell him you wait until this time, and then you go after that guy, and you stick your dagger in his ribs. Then that's tactics 101.
Yeah.
Or that orc shaman doing something interesting to his little goblin scouts.
Yeah, because a lot of these monsters can see invisible, but they can't do anything about sanctuary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And as long as the person who has the spell doesn't attack, it's up until the duration is over.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
You guys have you seen this used in your games? Have you used it or?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've used it. I've seen it used. Like I said, it's a really good way of if you have to get through a bunch of enemies to be elsewhere. That's the best way for a cleric to do it.
Right.
Fighters, they're just going to have to wade through it or take their lumps trying to get past it.
Unless you want to whip this on the fighter.
Yeah. Or, if you decide to do that, sure.
It's also, like I said, an excellent thing to put on your thief. So that just in case he blows his move silent, he blows his hide and shadows, you have a backup saving throw to make him remain ignored and completely lost track of, preserving his ability to backstab.
Exactly. And also your magic user goes without saying if he has a touch spell and he doesn't have something like spectral hand or something like that. Wades through it, goes up, touches the guy, all of a sudden he's like frozen.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, it's a wonderful defensive spell, and just in case you're in a bad way.
And it's a first level spell.
Yes, it is.
How can you not take this when you make a character?
At the very least, yeah, or how can you not use it as a,
exactly.
as a first level character? Yep.
I mean,
because of the bells.
I mean,
like wrong sanctuary.
Yeah. Yeah, if this was available in BASIC, I would use it. In fact, it is available in BASIC. I'm not sure. But, yeah, in my BASIC game, it's like we have to decide every time we go out, to do stuff, we have to decide, every day we have to decide, well, what spells are you going to do? Here's the choice of spells. This is a spell book you have. And Sanctuary's not on there, but if it was, boy, I would take that and Web. That would be my 2 spells right there.
Grease and Firefinger.
Oh my God.
There you go. There you go.
See, that's the difference between our way of thinking, Falon. I'm just trying to get us through this. You just want to, kick ass.
Well, of course.
Hey, Grease is great for getting through things. We have used Grease tactically on our side. We've greased an area in order to get through very, very fast. You make a running charge at it, and then you slide to get extra movement.
That's true, and when I was running through 2E, I determined that Grease is flammable.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Now, if I could have Grease, Firefinger, and Web.
Now you're asking for much.
Room goes thump. Who needs a fireball? We're covered.
Oh, what can I say? My God. All right, you guys got any Sanctuary stories? Tell us about it. THACOshammer@gmail.com. You have a number, Falon?
A phone number to call into us?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I don't remember it.
All right.
You need Corey for that.
Yeah, we're mice, Corey. We can't tell you the number unless Brian's here. And he's there somewhere. I can make something up, but that's all right. We'll go into the next segment, which is...
You already gave the number out last segment. We're good.
Yeah, we're fine. We're going to do Getting Out of Dodge.
This is it. This is what? If I take one more step, it'll be the farthest away from home I've ever been.
Getting Out of Dodge. Getting Out of Dodge. Okay, we are going to go through in the next 3 shows Dragon Mountain.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is going to be book 1. Now, Dragon Mountain was published when?
That was published in, if you give me one
1993.
Yep, 1993.
By?
Let's see.
Written by,
let's see, Paul Arden Lidberg did the design. Paul Jaquez did the box cover and the book cover art. The interior art is Tony DiTerlizzi. Diesel's the cartography man. Thomas Reed, the editor. So this is more of a
group effort.
Yeah, group effort, exactly.
Okay, fine. And we have book 1 here.
Correct.
And this is going to go down hard, just like Night Below. So,
no, Night Below didn't go that bad.
No, it didn't really. I mean,
I'm not going to have any issues until the next time we tackle this.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never seen this. I never bought it.
Mm-hmm.
So, tell me all about it, guys.
Okay, go on.
Well, in a tale older than time itself, a place, part myth, part imagination, part truth, that is filled with wondrous treasure and incredible peril. Not terrible peril, just incredible peril. This of any adventurer's career.
Cut to the chase, boy.
We got called kick ass.
Yeah. Basically, this is a high-level module. For characters 10th to 15th level, they suggest no character under 7th should even try to attempt it.
Oh, yeah.
This is basically a mountain that basically teleports between worlds. Yep. What'd you say?
Scroll.
Yeah, exactly. Might as well be. It's a mountaintop that just goes between worlds, shifts between planes, and things like that. It's a place of legend in almost every, campaign world there is, aside from a couple. But, they basically tell you in the beginning that, number one, you should read it, know the material, and it's for 6 to 8 characters from 10th to 15th level, like I said.
Let me say that again.
Yeah.
All those people who bowed to the 3E and the 4E monster that said, a party adventure should only be 4. 6 to 8 characters from 10th to 15th level. This.
Yeah. Now, they say that you can modify it down for lower level characters, but no one should be trying this less than 7th level.
Yeah.
Going on, they basically, of course, they say Dragon Mountain plane shifts and things like that. It could fit into any of the official worlds, as long as the mountain's not too close to any major civilization centers and things like that. And the adventure starts out innocently enough. The party goes into a nice little town, and it's kind of fallen on hard times, and it's just one of these things where they talk to a few people in town, and they start hearing legends about Dragon Mountain, and well, the party's supposed to pick up that stick and run with it, so to speak. Excuse me.
Afternoon, friends. I see you're interested in Dragon Mountain. A nasty place, that.
Half British, half Southern.
Oh, yes.
So, yeah, the party's given information about this character named Lothar. And you're supposed to find him, and apparently he's supposed to tell you more about Dragon Mountain. But, well, that kind of doesn't... Basically, at least in the first couple of parts of this part of the adventure, the first couple parts, the party's going from place to place on basically the strength of rumor. And, they go from town to town looking for Lothar, and people are like, Lothar? Oh, he's over there. And sooner or later, Lothar starts finding out that people are asking about him, and he starts sending people and monsters to kill you.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
So exactly what flavor of meat or wine goes with all this red herring?
Exactly.
Ooh.
Yeah, a very, very deep Moscato, yes. But yeah, like I said, you're going from place to place trying to figure out, where this guy is and things like that. And even in the second town your party goes in, you're confronted by a not-so-smart 10th level fighter and a bunch of his buddies.
Oh, brother. Talk about a hook. That's a big hook.
Yeah. Well, at this point, the hook is, firmly ensconced in your lower lip and you're being pulled along.
Yeah, but in Russia, the hook gets you.
Yeah, exactly. So your major fight is this 10th level fighter and a bunch of his friends. And the thing is that you're supposed to. I mean, you don't have to, but there's a little thing in here where one of the people in the group that you're fighting is a mage who's going to basically change sides and join you guys.
Sure.
Kind of, sort of.
We could always use a hireling.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then the best part is when you are in this town and you stay in an inn, you run into a bunch of overzealous, lawful good clerics.
No, I'm sorry. No kidding.
Yeah, with a full retinue. And they're interested in Dragon Mountain too, and they think that the party is up to no good, basically. And yeah, exactly.
Now tell me what these clerics are. They clerics of what?
Whatever you need them to be.
Exactly.
As long as
any deity that is a little bit hidebound and a little bit traditional and a little bit, like I said, overzealous.
And if it was my campaign led by John Carradine.
I'd go with John Cleese.
John Carradine. Oh, yeah. Blasphemer!
I'm sorry, that's Keith. I'm sorry, it's Keith Carradine.
No, it'd be John Carradine. You tell us that you are good? Blasphemer!
Exactly. So, as the
have we practiced how to defend against a kobold with a banana?
Go on, Brian.
you basically are led to a thief that you're supposed to know get some information from. The problem is that just as you're starting to talk to this person, a fight breaks out, and here come the overzealous, lawful good, lawful stupid, I would say, clerics and their full retinue of fighters and lesser clerics.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And it's one of these things where the person you're trying to get information from, they're basically just out to kill him. You know, they're to bring him to justice. Justice meaning death in this.
Is this one of those things
where justice will be smited?
Is this one of those things where, like, the guy dies in your arms saying, Dragon Mountain is the...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, something like that. Actually, once all this is over and the person you're talking to usually will end up dead, and so you're kind of discouraged. You're like, oh, what are we going to do now about Dragon Mountain? Then all of a sudden a caravan guard speaks up and starts talking about it, right, just long enough to kind of hook the players again to get them to go to the next area. And then you go to another town, and another person talks about Lothar, and now the person, is saying that Lothar's like this nervous guy. It seems he's a little paranoid, things like that. And
why do I get the feeling that Thomas Reed got into writing plot hooks for MMO class quests?
Yeah, no kidding. I wouldn't be surprised if he did. This is something straight out of WoW to me.
Oh, wow. Lothar, oh boy, go ahead.
No. So you're going from town, like I said, from town to town, having to shake people down or talk to people and find out about, where Lothar is and, how you're going to get a hold of him. Uh-huh. And, you're having fights and you're role playing. I mean, it's the way they present it, it's got good opportunities for role playing and combat, which is always good to be done. At some point, you actually are able to find Lothar's papers. He's a brigand, slave trader, all around bad guy. And you finally find out where his final hideout is. And sure enough, you start running into more of his friends. An 11th level wizard with 2 8th level fighter bodyguards and 2 trolls and things like that. You have an option. You can either fight him or you can talk to him and negotiate.
Sorry, that was 8. Did you read that right? That was 8 trolls?
No, that's 2.
My book says 8.
Oh,
really? He has 2 bodyguards, and he has the ability to summon his 8 trolls.
Really?
Are you, this is Lothar, right?
Yeah. Well, no, this is actually, I think this is the last step before you get to Lothar.
Wait, never mind. I'm reading too far ahead.
Oh, okay. You're ahead of me.
Somebody else.
I'm still at Rankle the Black's house.
Now, mind you, you don't necessarily have to do all these people in order. You can, as a DM, if you choose to redirect your players, or your players say, you know what, I'm off this train. You don't have to make one immediately lead to the next, immediately lead to the next in the chain. If they go left, you can make what's left go right, and right will happen wherever it needs to. And you can feed them the clues that are suitable to your play style and your play group style.
And any good DM can do that.
Yeah, which is suggested because, after a while the PCs will start talking about railroads and, rail companies of the 1870s as a not-so-subtle hint to your DMing style.
Let's go play Rail Baron, yeah.
Exactly,
or checking out your, when they go to the bathroom, they're going to check your pantry to see just exactly how much duct tape they have available.
Ooh. I already got ideas.
No, okay, getting back to this before we get too far afield.
Go ahead.
Getting back to this, if you negotiate, that usually means you've got to pay him money for the information. If you fight him, then you've got, it's a fight, but you can win it. If you, basically threaten him and get him to turn over on him, that's what leads you to where Lothar actually is.
That's when you break out the Jack Bauer interrogation technique.
Yeah.
Or good cop, bad cop, whatever works,
So
Why?
Exactly. So you finally get to where Lothar is, and he thinks that you are assassins sent to kill him, which is why he's been trying to kill you.
Right.
And they're probably right at this point.
I have a temptation to play Lothar as the master from Manos, the Hands of Fate. Manos.
You might want to get. You might be good doing that because apparently, you have to go to a goblin village of all places, and this fight, I'm sorry, for a 10th level party, it's easy. It's way too easy.
Okay.
Basically, it's Lothar, 30 goblins mounted on wargs.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, that's the fight. That's the fight. And yeah, I'm sorry, a couple of good fireball spells, a couple of good
or a magical Gatling gun would work.
I would kill a party with that, and I could do it easily about 19 different ways.
It all depends on who gets initiative.
Yeah, but it's you.
You don't start with all 30 goblins on top of all 30 wargs in one massed formation ready to charge.
Yeah.
You start a Braveheart.
So you do it in waves then.
Oh, I do waves, I do flanks, I do coming from all directions. I would, it would be, won't know which orc or which goblin or which warg they're fighting in any given round. They're going to come at you like friggin' mad cavalry.
Well, they are led by what is Lothar? What level?
12th level thief.
What is he?
12th level thief.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, he's got some brains.
Yeah, he's definitely, even though he's paranoid to the point where if the party treats with him, he'll send them to attack the party anyway. You know, which is, I don't know about that. But anyway, so, what ends up happening is, of course, the party kills Lothar, runs off the goblins, and,
that's the end of Dragon Mountain. Oh boy, okay.
Yeah. So now you're, and like I said, you're going to other towns. You have an option of going to a town called Baleem, or you can go to this town called Whitehill.
Is this all to build up levels for like the actual?
Yes.
Kind of like
no.
Below.
Well, it's a little bit of both. It's to give you the clues, to get you on the hook, to get you spiteful and angry enough that the party wants to get there and crush whatever they find. After being rubbed and led along by the nose so long. Usually at that point they start turning vindictive and want to seize everything and dance on the bones of whoever was in their way.
Okay.
I'm just saying that's the tone I get from most people talking about Dragon Mountain.
Yeah, pretty much. And, I'm looking at the little fork in the road, whichever way the party decides to go with it. Now, there's a little point. Now, the issue I have is probably at the end of this book and the beginning of the next book, which we'll get into in a future episode. But there's a part in this episode where you're going up against normal wyverns, 2 of them, but their poison is so strong that you have a -12 to save against it.
That's a hell of a wyvern.
Yeah. I'm like, the whole thing is that, and the poison they use, it doesn't kill you instantly like most wyvern poison does. But the fact that you've got to save versus it at -12, it's like, okay, why don't you make it so that it's just automatically crippling to the party?
This is the point where I start questioning why I'm playing 2E.
Well, that's not even a 2E thing.
That's just this particular module, and that happens.
Okay.
Let me look at it this way. I was editing modules for the RPGA during this time frame.
Okay, really? I didn't know that.
One of the things that propped up was adventures being written for tiers for multiple levels of parties, and at one adventure that was written that came in had an encounter that the lowest tier encounter, the encounter for 5th level characters, was 8 thieves surround the party and start backstabbing. Ambush the party with a prepared ambush. So it's surprise plus ambush plus flanking. In a X crossfire of flying daggers that basically guarantees half of the party is going to go down. in the first 2 rounds, because let's see, you've got your ambush round, you've got your surprise round, then you have whether or not they won initiative, so that could be a conceivably 3rd round before anyone even gets to act, and it's all backstabs. Flank cross supported.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing that's where it kind of gets me, because now it's like, okay, I get what you're doing. You're using low to mid-level monsters to beat the living snot out of a high-level party.
You're wearing them down, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And the further you go in this book, the more you see it, and the more my blood pressure goes up. Because I'm just like, okay.
Oh, you don't like this book? This module?
I've said to you both before, when we're talking about it, I have major issues with this adventure. I do.
Okay.
I'm trying to be impartial. I'm trying to be fair, but it's becoming more difficult.
With the wyvern poison, the big point of the hook is to make it not kill you. And if you just didn't have enough of a nudge in that direction, say, you know what, you really need to go get this shard because it's got healing powers beyond normal to deal with this poison that is beyond normal.
Well, I can understand what Brian's talking about. I mean, when I first read the Ravenloft module Adam's Wrath, the first thing that happens to the player characters is they get knocked out, and Dr. Mordenkainen takes them and turns them into puts their brains into flesh golems. So now they got to spend the rest of the module trying to find his first creation, Adam, which is basically the Frankenstein monster, and get him to come back and whatever before the doctor will even think of putting their brains back into their regular bodies. And to me, I understand what Brian's saying. That is kind of a gimp, kind of a nerf that I really don't care for.
Yeah. DMs who do that kind of thing to me will have to deal with the fact that I like being a flesh golem and want to continue adventuring this way.
Exactly.
You could suck it up and deal with that for the rest of your campaign, buddy.
Yeah. Just give me my equipment. I'm fine. Yeah.
But anyway, moving on. I mean, you're supposed to get, these various shards. I should have mentioned that. I completely forgot it. And I think there are at least 3 shards in this book that the party should be getting. One, you have to invade a vampire's crypt in order to obtain it, because the shard is around the vampire's neck.
Right.
Yes, Belcar.
I'm going to have fun with that one when I run it.
A psychopathic homicidal halfling, red hair. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, I mean, you're going
with
through
a mummified cat.
Yeah. Wow, that's one help. Now, see, this is where these are actually combats that would challenge a party. The vampire, 24 giant skeletons, and 2 wraiths.
Giant skeletons?
Yes, 8 hit dice apiece.
Ay.
Yes. See, this is where it starts getting interesting, where the danger level is more, shall I say, suited to a high-level party.
Now we're getting into a fight.
Yeah, a big-time fight, exactly. Yeah. So now you get all that done, and then you have to go into a swamp.
Oh boy!
And this one's interesting because you're having to deal with basilisks. You're having to find out why PCs are getting enthralled by some evil in the middle of the swamp.
What? No lizard man?
No.
Wow.
Maybe a random encounter would be nice, but yeah, I mean, you're up against a 13th level cleric at the end, and 3 5th level clerics, 2 6th level fighters, but they're enthralled. You really shouldn't kill them unless you absolutely have to.
Oh, not the moral thing.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it is. It is. But at the end of this is where you start getting your information about Dragon.
Shall we mention something special about the encounter with the priest and his basilisks?
What's that?
What do normally basilisks do?
Petrify you.
Yeah.
Well, that would suck, so they don't do that in this.
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah. If you meet their gaze, if you fail your saving throw, you become enthralled, which means you do the cleric's bidding.
Which I like because that's a variation on the standard creature.
Correct. Yeah, correct. Even though that time.
In my basic DM's book, I have an article I think was from Encounter Magazine, which is a quarterly. Google it. You can find it out there. It's a PDF. It's free. About different undead. I know this is an undead, but it applies. For anybody who's uncomfortable with like level draining or energy draining or stuff like that, they give you a system and charts to make your undead unique.
Yeah.
Without, if you don't, even if they do level drain, you can make them like special things they can do that will keep the players on their toes.
Yep. Absolutely.
Anyway,
that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, I digress. Anyway, I like they did that. Anyway, go ahead.
Right. Okay, the last part of this module, which is where it starts going off the rails for me, so to speak.
Right.
Now, you have found your information, and you're heading towards where the location of Dragon Monster, that's a good one. Dragon Mountain is. Yeah, I'm tired. And you go into a village where they're about to be overrun by kobolds. And the people who are in the town, they are cursing these kobolds' names. And
overrun by kobolds. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Sorry.
Yes.
Puppies.
Yeah, exactly.
I would. Oh man, if Liz ever ran this,
That's for you, Liz.
I would. Yeah, if she ever ran Dragon Mountain, I'd be hosed.
Yeah, everybody be killed by the puppies. Anyway, but as you talk to the people in the village, they tell you these are not regular kobolds. They fight a whole lot smarter. They're not cowardly. They fight in order.
And they glow.
And things like that. Mm-hmm. And they have, and they use magic items.
Okay. Before you run Dragon Mountain, you need to go read the Goblin's webcomic. Understand the Goblin Adventuring Party, apply it to your kobolds.
Or Tucker's kobolds, who knows?
Yeah, either one. And yeah, the whole thing is that now this is the fight. They say there are about 30 to 50 villagers defending the village. They say for every villager have 15 kobolds. So you're looking at 450 to 650 kobolds.
Those of you who are still laughing at kobolds, which are like they're very few by now, I think. Mm-hmm. When they get organized and they do tactics, they can be. Think of it this way: those African ants.
Yes.
When they get together and they organize and they go after you. You ain't got a chance. So it's the same thing.
You're going to get stripped down to the bone. It's true. But it's not just that.
If you're using Minnie's rules, 2 of them in every square.
Yep.
That's the other thing. And also, they even say every so often there's in this whole horde of kobolds, there's going to be 1 or 2 that have wands.
Oh.
That have horns of blasting.
Oh.
And wands of fireballs and things like that. They even go so far as to describe the tactics. Their favorite tactic include heavy bullfire to pin down PCs, especially spellcasters, while certain members of their team put a wand of fireballs or horn of blasting to good use. They never make frontal assaults unless they believe they have a good chance of breaching the defenses, and they'll use hit and run tactics and stealth.
Okay.
What could 20 kobolds do that were invisible?
And perhaps an especially brave or powerful kobold will take on one of the PCs in combat and just happen to be armed with some sort of powerful level-draining sword, an armor spell, and a word of recall spell.
And let me tell you, the tactics you should be doing is, okay, you see that kobold over there with the wand of wonder? He goes down first.
Oh, thank God Corey's not here.
Yeah, he'd have the chromatic orb wand in both is like 2 of them with both,
Yeah, exactly.
Like I said, hey, here's something else to mention. The kobolds are equipped by the dragon from the vast selection of booty she has accumulated over the years. They are not just holding on to random bits of magic. They have been tactically equipped by a tactician, a mastermind, who had a horde to select from.
Okay,
Yes.
Now, to summarize this is going to keep your characters on their toes.
It does
through
involve
the whole thing.
Well, it does involve investigative work at first. It does require some role playing.
But
Go ahead.
once the dookie hits the fan, boy.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah. Once the gloves are dropped, it's on. Grab each other by the jersey and start punching each other in the face.
And this leads into book 2, which is the actual mountain itself, right?
Yes, that's correct. And where you have to basically make an assault to gain the mountain. And this is going to be especially hard for me. It is.
A final note: do not alter the numbers of kobolds that are listed in the other 2 books based on what occurs in Glen Hollow. The numbers shown reflect this already. That means don't add the survivors if the kobolds are successful in razing the village to the ground, as they very likely might be.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And don't reduce the numbers because, we killed 400 of them, there's 400 less. No. The numbers are already accounted for.
Yeah, exactly.
They have cavalry coming in, yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
They're like kobolds. By the time you actually get to the top, there's a whole other tribe waiting.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's what they even say when you're on your way to Dragon Mountain from the village that you helped to defend or didn't defend well enough. That's when you're going to start running into all kinds of nastiness.
Because you got to remember, kobolds are the roaches of D&D.
Pretty much.
And you may think of that in a derogatory term, but think of it this way. Roaches,
I know what roaches can do when they're mad.
Exactly, and they may not always be organized, but man, they're going to get everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
And once they are organized, look out.
Yeah. And once they gain the mountain, then all of a sudden that's when you're going to start running into quite a few of the different clans who have various kinds of tactics.
That's right.
They run in packs of 20, and they will try to tackle you and grapple you and try to take you down so they can stab you repeatedly.
Right.
Things like that. It's not easy.
I've been thinking of importing a monster into D&D from Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay just to take the place of the kobolds. Since kobolds are pretty badass now, I've been thinking of taking the snotlings from Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay and importing them into D&D because there's a vacuum. There's a vacuum there.
Only if I can have the Skaven come too.
Oh man, do you have? No, actually, I like Skaven too. I wouldn't mind. But snotlings, they are now the low man on the totem pole as far as goblinoids go.
Mm-hmm.
Because kobolds have become so, like I said, badass now.
Well,
so
if
it's
you run a certain way.
Organization and things like that. Basically that was the whole point of the kobolds, to be the low man. Now there's not a low man. Snotlings will work.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's my opinion. So take for it what you will.
Yeah. First, this is the first book. We're going to be getting into the second book, and as we're talking, I'm reading and going over what's in it, and I'm already sort of starting to twitch. So I'm going to put that book down now.
And if you have any experience with Dragon Mountain, please tell us about it at thacoshammer@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure Full On Gamers run this before, which is why he gives you such good advice about it. Mm-hmm. Have you ever tossed them into Murder Hole? But that's another.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which reminds me, we do have to, put our good Full On Gamer in the spotlight when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah. You know what? I actually the other day, it's like, I have this on the hard disk. Let's take a look at it. And I looked at it and go, oh my God.
That's how evil that man can be.
Oh my God. I don't need this at Night Below. I could just kill people on its own. It's like a killing.
You can stick it anywhere. It doesn't have to be associated with Night Below. I'm just saying I built it because I needed something to associate with my Night Below.
Oh, Lord.
That was just a side adventure that I expanded.
Yeah, just think what he would do with a full-blown adventure, Glenn.
Lord. Oh, Lord. Anyway, THACOSHammer@gmail.com. Give him the number once again.
405-806-0555.
Okay, and now I believe we're going to have to close the Splat Book. I'm sorry to say. We've been having so much fun with kobolds and dragons and what the hell was that mage's name or the thief's name?
Lothar.
Lothar. Oh, that's a great B-movie horror name. Lothar.
I think everybody's name in this module is a B-movie horror person. In fact, this village that was founded by a guy named Harker, I think is going to have recently have escaped from some vampire's castle up in the mountains.
I'm going to add Tor Johnson as Lobo in here. Time to go to bed. That would be so much fun. Anyway, it's time for us to close this Splat Book and say goodbye, Full-On.
Well, Gamer Nation, we'll see you at the foot of Dragon Mountain.
Oh, Brian?
With one eye open.
Oh, boy.
Like hell you will. I ain't going to be there. No way.
I guess that's goodbye.
No way, no how.
Oh, my God. And I'm DM Glenn, and we'll see you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer. Bye-bye. Yeah, I'm putting a goblin in front of Dragon Mountain, for Lothar. So the master doesn't want you to come in here. The master would not approve. THACO's Hammer theme is provided by the Diablo Swing Orchestra. You'll find them on Jamendo.com. All other additional music for this episode was provided by Kevin MacLeod. You'll find more of his music on Incompetech.com. Be sure to visit our website at thacoshammer.info. If you have any questions or comments, email us at thacoshammer@gmail.com. Remember, that's an O, not a 0. You can also find us on the second edition forums at osrgaming.org and at purpleworm.org. Or give us a call and leave us a voicemail at 405-806-0555. See you next time when the hammer comes down on THACO's Hammer.